Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the last review video of the Greenville Nash Unofficial Hasbook review video. We've completed all 11 of the series. Now we're going to take a look at the very last part of the book, reflecting on the collector notes. We're going to look at the mailaway figures. We're going to look at prototypes. We're going to look at the commercials and other advertisements. We're going to look at the wrestling rings, accessories. We're going to look at, bootleg figures, other figures that kind of like resemble Hasbro-style action figures, right? We're going to look at Royal Rumble type figures, right? So there are a lot of different things that were part of Hasbro that this book does encapsulate. So a very integral part of this Hasbook, and it's going to be important, and I hope a lot of people do get the opportunity to tune in this week, because there are a lot of things that going over the course of this book, over the course of these series, right? Especially in reference to the collector notes. When we're going through, it's like, hey, see page so and so as it talks about collector notes, but I wasn't doing that, right? Because I wanted to wait until we got to the very last video, and this is the video in order to actually go over those notes. So, but we're finally here. We're finally on the Mailaways and all of the prototypes and all the other stuff. So let's dive in, because I am excited to go over this aspect of the video. And the Mailaways, this is it. I finally got myself a custom original prototype of the Bret Hart probably a couple weeks ago, and this is what I'm talking about. The original prototype design of Bret Hart was essentially your Series 8 Bret Hart, right? So the Series 8 Bret Hart originally released in 1994, but think of it this way. They designed this Series 8 Bret Hart, or they designed this mailaway Bret Hart, and whether there wasn't enough time to release it, or maybe there was just too much detail and color that went into the figure, for whatever reason, they decided, you know what, no. We already had a Bret Hart that was released with, pink pants, black shirt, a pink heart. We already have this Bret Hart available, right? So why are we just not going to release the exact same figure? So they took that exact Series 4 Bret Hart and re-released him again. And the thing about that figure is he was a duplicate, because in Series 4 there was not only a pink heart Bret Hart that was released on card, but there was also a purple heart Bret Hart variant released on card. So when you got a Bret Hart mailaway that looked just like the original Series 4 Bret Hart, right? You can have a Bret Hart with purple heart in baggy that's worth $1,200, on eBay today. But once you take that figure out of the baggy, it is no longer a mailaway. Because you can't conceivably say, hey, this is a legitimate mailaway. Truth be told, you can have it in the bag. You can have a video showcasing, hey, here's a video of me opening this enclosed bag. I go on Facebook, go on eBay, go on Mercari, whatever. Here's the video, me tearing this bag open. I have a legitimate Bret Hart mailaway. The second it comes out of that bag, it goes from being a $1,200 figure to about an $85 figure. I don't care how mint it is. I don't care if you do have it, if it is a legitimate mailaway. At the end of the day, once it's out of that bag, it is no longer a mailaway. It is no more than a Series 4 Bret Hart variant. Now, yes, that purple heart is more rare, more expensive than a normal pink heart Bret Hart, but it's still nothing more than an alteration. So I think a lot of people, they see that purple heart and they think, hey, I got a mailaway. hey, you might. At the end of the day, you can't prove it. So, but like I said, this right here, this was the original design. And when I got that custom in a couple weeks ago, it was so awesome. Now, I don't think they may not have it on this advertisement right here, but when you actually flip this figure around, and I think Matt Cardona might actually have the original prototype, but on the back of this figure, when you turn him around, on the back of his pants, there should be stars on the back of his pants, so that would actually make it the full on prototype. Now, when you actually look at the actual Series 8 Bret Hart compared to the original design for the original mail-away, they went with all pink for the Series 8, where the mail-away original prototype had the white and black, right? So they do have those slight modifications even on the design of the angel wings. So that's pretty cool. They even did away with the little star or heart on the side of the boots, but yeah, you can't see anything on the side of that. And like if you look at the original Series 4 Bret Hart, the little star, right? So yeah, they don't show anything on the sides. You can't make that out. That's what I'm talking about, guys. You got to go the custom route for these figures, because at least with a Hulk Hogan and an Undertaker, more times than not, I mean, there are some really good customizers out there, so you may not be able to tell the difference between a legitimate custom or if it is a legitimate, a realistic mail-away figure. That's why if it's not an original baggie, you know, you might be afraid to pay top dollar for those particular figures. But Bret Hart is so difficult to determine whether he's a Series 4 or a mail-away because of the reusage of, you know, the Series 4 Bret Hart. But $8 for a mail-away. And given the fact that these guys were like $3 back at Toys R Us back in the day, I would have to say that this was my favorite version of Hulk Hogan. And it's just a reutilization of the Series 3 Hogan, right? Undertaker with light brown hair. So cool. But this is your mail-away. This is the mail-away that they actually came out with. Just a replica of your Series 4. And as I said, in Series 4 mint on card, you had both pink heart or a purple heart variant. So you can't really prove one way or the other. It's got to be inside the baggie to actually know that it's a legitimate mail-away. The mail-away was initially planned to be in the same attire as the Series 8 figure, except with black elbow pads and white wrist tape. A prototype and 3 production samples have been found. Collectors should be aware that mail-away Bret Hart is identical to the Series 4 Purple Heart release. A mail-away cannot be confirmed as authentic without it being sealed bag with the printed label. The downside, because a lot of time I just take a Series 3 Hulk Hogan, right, and I send it to my buddy Rob, and he, you know, repaints it for me, and it is a perfect replica. And like I said, I have a Series 3 Hulk Hogan on hand. He charges me $10, and I get a perfect 100% replica looking just like this. The only difference is a Series 3 Hulk Hogan has, you know, basically, you know, dark skin, right? Where this is sort of a, you know, light brown skin or sort of clay type look. So you can definitely tell the difference between an actual mail-away Hogan and that of a repainted Series 3. But you're not going to pay, or most people aren't going to want to pay $700 to $1,500 for a mail-away, especially if you could get a really good custom for a really good price. Hulk Hogan wore his attire at WrestleMania 9 in 93. The mail-away is repainted the Series 3 Hogan mold. The bag lettering is printed on and not a sticker. And then Undertaker. And then notate that he has no eyeshadow, same as his Series 8, with light brown hair. And then the cloak should be the same as his Series 8 figure. The mail-away Undertaker can be distinguished from a Series 4 and 8 by its red-brown hair color. Collectors must be aware that this figure is commonly faked. It cannot be verified as authentic if not in a sealed bag with a printed label. Now, these type of mail-aways, this is not common to the United States, but like in the United Kingdom or what have you, you can find like, you know, like the Series 2 Bear Hug Hulk Hogan as an example, or what was it? I think Sears, actually in the U.S., I think Sears might have had its own type of mail-away. That might have been a U.S. thing, or that might have been like an overseas thing. Maybe even a Canada thing. Even I'm not too certain about that. But what is this one? What is the Series 1 Hogan of? The United Kingdom saw many WWF Hasbro mail-away promotions. The most well-known are the Silver Vision Hulk Hogan mail-aways. The first was available to individuals who purchased the Best of Saturday Night's Main Event VHS tape. Attached to the interior was a fill-in form that offered a free Hulk Hogan Series 1 figure. The bag can be identified by the Hasbro Bradley UK Limited sticker on the bag. Photo credit by D. Kelsey. But I know I've seen Series 2 Bear Hug Hogan as well. But that's pretty darn cool, man. That is a freaking pretty... even that... I think even an order form, man. I think collectors would be even into something like that. Because collectors are into the weirdest things. Saturday Night's Main Event. Yep, there it is. Hulk Hogan mail-away for the Series 2. Silver Vision mail-away. And that arm, damn. Oh, man, I hate myself. I think I might have had this one. I actually had a Hulk Hogan where when you open up the arms stayed open. And it's literally the only Hulk Hogan bear hug I've ever seen. When you open up the arms, they don't snap back, closed. And I freaking sold that like I sold that like I would sell any other Series 2 Hulk Hogan. Because, Series 2 Hogan's like what? $7 to $15 figures, right? So I'm not looking at that as like something that was, rare or anything. I'm like, okay, maybe the joint's just stuck or something. Oh, damn. If that was a specialty Hogan, I'm going to be so mad. The fact that his arms stayed open, though, that was so cool. I should have kept it. I wanted to keep it, but I'm stupid. A second Silver Vision promotion found that in the January 93 Silver promotion, or a Silver Vision newsletter, offered a Series 2 Hulk Hogan and a pair of Bret Hart sunglasses. The bag could be identified by the printed Hasbro Bradley UK Limited print on the bag. There have been other figures found in Bradley UK Limited bags, but as March 2021, it is unknown what promotion they are from or if they are indeed genuine. Look at that. Just the fact that the arms stay open and you can actually see the graphics of the t-shirt. So cool, man. Cereal box promotions. They had freaking Mailaways for absolutely everything. You know what? Depending on how long these Mailway videos go, I might not even make this one more video. I might do multiple videos. I might stretch this series out a little bit longer. So I might take my time on these Mailaways. We'll see what happens. If you know the moves, you could win a complete line of WWF toys from Hasbro. Let's see, there's 200 pages, and I'm going on page 140, so we shall see. Moving on to the official rings. You know, when I was a kid, like I said, we never had any wrestling rings. We sat at the desk, and like if we were doing Royal Rumble or something, imagine this was the desk, right? Obviously, no, we didn't have a ring or nothing, so if we were doing a Rumble, we just pretended there was ropes, and we just like flipped the guy over an imaginary ropes or something, and that was like a elimination. So as an adult, as a collector, it's the first time I ever owned any wrestling rings. And like all of these different rings, right? And yeah, I got wrestling rings scattered all over the room, but you know, Mattel Retro rings, and well, several Mattel Retro rings, several Hasbro rings, several LJN rings, etc. The different AWA Remco rings, etc. And I probably never would have even used the darn Hasbro rings if I had as a kid. Like, how do you play through this, man? It's like annoying. Like, you'd have to like put your hands over the ropes to try and wrestle, and it's like, no, try and slide your hands through the ropes, uncomfortable, underneath the ropes, the very bottom. Nah, that'd just be so annoying. Like, if I did use the ring, I'd probably take the post off and everything, just use the base itself. And even that wouldn't make sense. It would be like a sumo wrestler ring or something. So no, I'm pretty good. I'm happy with how we use the table or desk or whatever, because that to me, this is display only. You know, store the figures inside for display. The front of the dual language box is in both English and Spanish, while the back has 4 languages: English, Spanish, French, and German. Cool. You know what? I keep seeing different colored belts, and I could never tell if they're like custom belts or if they're original. Do I have any? I know I definitely have silver belts. I don't know if I have any gold belts. I might have some gold belts. Black turnbuckles. I definitely don't have any black turnbuckles, though. I don't think. Collector's notes. 4 ring post variants. Black square Europe, blue square USA, black round rarest, and blue round. The round posts were packaged in the first releases. This was changed to the square post for re-releases. This was either for safety reasons or to provide a platform to launch the Jumper wrestling figures. 2 turnbuckle variants, blue and black. Championship belt variants, silver or gold belt. There have been unpainted belts found, and I have unpainted belts too. Packaging contents, the ring post, your stickers, flags and turnbuckles. I hate when people say, like, there's, Hasbro only came out with one championship belt. And, I guess they generally refer to the belt that came with the wrestling ring. But they always omit the 2 championship belts that came with Ted DiBiase. Yes, the $1 million belt wasn't an official championship belt. But, I mean, it's still one of the coolest championship belts out there, right? So, even if you didn't have the wrestling ring, if you had the $1 Million Man, you still technically had a championship belt that you could have used. So, that was always something. Put these Bret Hart figures back on the shelf here. Alright. Official rings. JCPenney exclusive ring. Now, how does the JCPenney exclusive differ from the official wrestling ring? I mean, outside of like that little picture right there, everything else looks almost identical. I mean, the official ring, the ring is just darker. I'm trying to go back and forth, but I mean, does this look bigger? I think the JCPenney ring might be, lighter shade of blue, but I mean, the flag is in a different location, but I mean, not really like a huge difference. Yeah, so the 1990 JCPenney catalog, or JCPenney Christmas catalog, advertised a WWF Hasbro blue ring with a Series 1 Hulk Hogan figure, as well as a new green tights Series 1 Macho Man for $30. However, confusion and disappointment resulted, as the Macho Man that was included was the standard Series 1 orange tights release. The green tights Macho Man never made it to production, though a prototype was found in 2017. So, yep, that's what was advertised, and that's what you got, of course. The JCPenney box can be identified by the added Hulk Hogan and Macho Man sticker, as well as a seal with the number JCP, and then so and so. Also, the inner box flaps have, I don't care about all that. Packaging contents. So if somebody still has these 2 figures in the original baggies, I mean, I think those 2 would actually be worth some money. Probably not the original Mailaways, like Hogan, Undertaker, and Bret Hart, but I think they would have some value. Probably a few $100. WWF Championship talking. Damn, there was a talking ring too. 91. Damn, I don't realize how much stuff I'm actually missing from Hasbro. Like, Hasbro is my favorite line, right? And I'm more fixated on collecting LJNs than I am on Hasbro. But I've got so much LJN stuff that I've been neglecting Hasbro. There's a lot of the accessories, especially ring related stuff, that I really need to start picking up, because like, I don't have the modulator. I need to get that as well. The official wrestling ring with effects keyboard was released in 91 as a Europe exclusive. Well, shoot, man, how many people actually have that? Turnbuckles, post, flags are black, and the championship belt is gold. The sound effects keyboard would be attached to the ring and had 8 live action sound effects that include the winner, woo, break it up, uh-oh, slam, 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, and yeah. The sound effect keyboard came in English or Spanish. Some had an on and off switch, while others did not. The sound effect keyboard had been reused for multiple bootleg wrestling rings. Right on. And some of the packaging contents. Now, the holy freaking grail of wrestling rings, man. Oh my god. The king of the ring, I swear to god, just loose. This darn sucker is like $400. You try to get this sucker in new in box, especially unopened. Unopened is probably close to $1,000. In its original box, even opened, you're probably looking at still $600 or $700, $800. So unopened, anywhere between $1,000 and $1,200, I would say. Official King of the Ring in '93. You know, some people, they've been taking like the regular blue ring and just repainting it and customizing it. I mean, I would like an official original ring, a King of the Ring, but if someone's got the skill to create this, I'll take a custom if that's the case, just so that I could have something for the collection. But the graphics on this box, man, I just want the box. Look how cool that is. I don't know. If I can get a ring and box for around $400, I might just do it. I might pull the trigger. But I gotta find one that's actually, somebody is actually selling it, right? There are 2 sticker variants, one with the Vince McMahon TV sticker and one without. There are 2 instruction sheet variants, one with scan of the Vince McMahon sticker photo and one with a drawing of it. It has been rumored that this ring was originally intended to be with Hulkamania themed ring, but was changed due to Hulk Hogan leaving the company. As of March 2021, there has been no evidence to verify this theory. The ring would be reused for the Killian Ring Official AAA Lucha Libre figure line 1994. Looks like you get the same championship belt regardless of which wrestling ring you get. Man, this friggin' artwork is amazing. I use this for one of my cover photos, and I was going to use the cover photo for another one, and I completely forgot to do that. I ended up using other pictures for the cover photo for the thumbnail for these videos. How cool is that, though? All right. Yeah, that's absolutely lit, man. That's absolutely incredible. And they even came with the figure collector's case. I've seen this. Honestly, I didn't have any. I had no interest in this, but I might go for it. Only because if I've got, you know, that LJN case over there, right, for, you know, the Hulk Hogan rock and roll, I might as well go for this as well, just for the Hasbro collection. And it says the WWF Collector's Case 91 came with 5 cardboard inserts. The case could hold a total of 24 wrestling figures. This case is difficult to find in good condition, especially with the inserts intact. And then the many wrestlers, collect them all. And the Royal Rumble wrestling ring. You know, the mini wrestlers. I do have some of these guys. Not a lot, but I've been collecting a few of these. Smoke break. Not really. I'm sorry. Yeah, I knew I had a couple of them. Yeah, I don't collect a lot of those because, you know, they're just so freaking tiny, but thought I had more than that. But I just wanted to check on those. So, do I have Legion of Doom? No, I didn't. So I have 8 of them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18. So 8 out of 18. I have this set right here. And I've got this set. Looking over at the figures as I talk. Yep. So I got these 2 sets. And I remember these guys not being exactly the most affordable in the world. I mean, I think even, you know, for carded, even though these are like, what, 2 inches, 2.5 inches tall, I think carded, these guys go for like $60+. So I'm like, I'll add them because they're part of the Hasbro collection, but they really didn't do much for me. So it wasn't like a big thing for me to pick them up. But I might have to. Because this wrestling ring, it just looks fun. I just want to get these guys in there. I just want. They look like sock and bop robots, or is that what they're called? I think that's what they're. I think that's what these guys do, right? I mean, I've never had this as a kid, so I don't know how this functions, but that looks like that's what this does. Someone gets clawed in the face, gets thrown out of the ring. That looks super crazy fun. So, you know, I might go for those. Why not? If I can find the ring, I might go for the rest of the sets. But I think I would have to get the ring before I try to get any more of those minifigures. The ring would persuade me to continue the collection. Alrighty. I think these guys are part of the ring itself. So 6. So if these guys were part of the ring, 2, 4, 5. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there's 6, but I only see 5 in here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the 6th guy? Right there, 6. So 6 wrestlers as part of the ring. And then 8 characters in the 2 packages. That's 14. I could have sworn I saw 18 wrestlers. So 6, 10, 14. Yep, 18. So I'm missing 1 carded set. You know what? Shoot. Even if I don't get the ring, Yeah, damn, I have to. Just doing this darn review, I have to now. I have to get the ring and I have to get this because that's only 2 things I have to get. I already have half the collection. I was thinking I had to pick up a bunch of different things, but I don't. Okay. Of course, it all depends on if it's available, if there's a seller selling it. If it's not available, then there's nothing to buy, right? But we shall see. All right, the talking figures. And we've got the Ultimate Warrior and Hogan, because in the 90s, you've got your 2 biggest superstars. I mean, really, when it comes to like video games and action figures, there's really 4 main characters that you're always going to have abundant with all of your merchandising. You're always going to have Hogan, you're always going to have Warrior, you're always going to have Macho Man, and you're always going to have the $1 Million Man. Whether Macho Man is your good guy or your bad guy, you know, the $1 Million Man's always going to be your bad guy, and so you're going to have at least 2 bad guys, and of course Hogan and Warrior is always going to be your good guys, but those are like, you know, your 4 major superstars. And it's funny that $1 Million Man would be like all over the place with action figures and in practically every single wrestling video game known to man, yet that man never held a single heavyweight or intercontinental title. And he didn't even get his first tag team push, not until he got injured and had to tag team with IRS, you know, with back problems and whatnot. He finally got his first push when, and like I said, when he got injured. And a lot of time, that's what happens. Like Yokozuna. When he put on such massive amount of weight and he basically was immobile in the ring, the only way to keep him active is to tag team him with Owen Hart, right? And he got multiple tag team titles with Owen. But Owen Hart had to be the guy that carried the load. When Ted DiBiase got injured, they had to tag team him with IRS. IRS had to carry the load. Andre the Giant, Haku had to carry the load. So, Demolition. When Axe got injured, they had to bring on a 3rd member, and then eventually Crush, you know, fully replaced Axe. So, you know, it sucks when you get injured in the business, or get injured on in any job, really, but it happens. All right. Advertising. This is one of my favorite pictures ever. This was one of my thumbnails for my first Tuesday show when I did the Series 1 review of all of Hasbro Series 1. Yeah, this is perfect, man. Love this picture. Because it gives you a full-on review of all the characters that it came out with, and incredible. And I've used this picture, I believe, on one of my thumbnails for this this booklet. Jesus Christ. There is no way in hell my mom paid $45 for a freaking Nintendo wrestling game back in the day. I gotta give my mom credit. If she paid that amount of money for this crap, we were damn spoiled if that's the case. I mean, don't get me wrong. We played the living hell out of that game when we were kids, but I mean, even CIB today for a collector's item, you're adults, you're playing vintage prices for a vintage item for a collectible, right? That's, yeah, I basically paid that. I paid that and more today, but that's because, like I said, it was complete in box, and you're buying it as a collectible. But as a kid, we weren't even saving this box. The only thing we probably saved was the video game and probably the sleeve, maybe. The little black insert, that's probably it. I don't even think we even saved the manual. I mean, that was probably highly doubtful, but my God. $45 for that junk. We give high prices a flying dropkick. I'll give them credit because I think Toys R Us, like I said, these figures were like $3 at Toys R Us back in the day. So, yeah, $4. Yeah. I mean, like I said, they hovered between like $3 to $5 most of the time. You know, I think tag teams were around $5. So, prices, they kind of differed. Sometimes the single figures were $3, sometimes they were $5. Sometimes tag teams were $5, sometimes the tag teams were $7. But generally, your single cards were $3, and tag teams, more times than not, were like $7, but I'm going to say $3 and $5. Toys R Us, bring home the WWF Superstars. You know, great thing about the Tonka wrestlers, I still have my original Hogan and Warrior from childhood. Among all of my wrestling collection, my Tonka Hogan and Warrior, they're technically my two oldest collectibles. Now, the Macho Man Tonka that I have, I probably got that sometime within the last year. 6 months ago, 8 months ago, something like that. That wasn't from childhood. That literally is a brand new item for me. But the Warrior and Hogan, you know, that's something that we had from when we were kids. So that's like a 30-something-year-old item, almost a 40-year-old item. 35-year-old item, 34-year-old item, something like that. So I've been saying that pretty much every single wrestling item that you see in this room is basically brand new. That it's something that I've acquired since I started collecting right at the tail end of 2021. But that's not true. Like I said, those two Tonka buddies, those are the only wrestling items that I had from childhood. So that's pretty cool for nostalgic purposes. Let's see. I don't know what GIG stands for. I tried looking that up one day, but I couldn't figure that out. But GIG was the Italian distributor for WWF Hasbro figures. And they placed many advertisements above and next page in the Italian children's comic book Topolino. Really? Is that what GIG is? Italian distributors? Okay. Because I read that in like the in the notes section, right, in previous reviews, and nothing was popping up for that sucker. Gig Fans Club. That is so freaking cool. We got a little over 30 pages to go, so I think we'll be able to fit this in a little bit over an hour. $19.92 WF Hasbro advertisement from so-and-so. Note that Dusty Rhodes is not included, as he would be released in Europe, but not the United Kingdom. Or he would not be released in Europe, nor the United Kingdom. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Alrighty. Finally, they are here. A German WF Hasbro advertisement featuring figures from Series 3 and 4. Very similar to the Undertake Them All advertisement. Argos. Is that the WCW ring? That's another Holy Grail piece I need. Or maybe not Holy Grail, but at least Grail piece, because I don't have any WCW rings. But that's really something I need to get added to the collection. Looks like one of your first opportunities to kind of see both Galoob and Hasbro going side by side. And I've talked about it plenty. And every time I talk about Galoob, make that kind of comparison, what do I always say? You know, Hasbro, they were your Beverly Hills figures, and Galoob was like, you know, your figures across the 8 Mile, man, wrong side of the tracks type of figures. I only saw them over at the dollar store. Where Toys R Us held your Hasbros, and then you had your dollar store Galoob figures. That's it. Catalog retailer Argos would publish catalogs twice yearly in the United States, or in the United Kingdom. Ugh. The massive catalog advertised everything from bedding to exercise equipment to toys. Showing our WF Hasbro advertisements from 91 to 94. Now, I don't know what the heck all this is. Guess the only thing that was really important was the ring. The infamous advertisement for the JCPenney exclusive Hasbro ring with Green Trunks, Macho Man, and Hulk Hogan. This was featured in the 1990 JCPenney Christmas catalog, page 494. Page 494 of the Argos magazine, I would imagine. Now, I know I used both of these advertisements as thumbnails for this particular book review in the past. In particular, this Doink because when you look at Doink, right, you notate the all green look of his arms, right, of his body, and even the hair I think is like a little bit more, not shaved down, but where the hair is kind of like more standing out a little bit. But the original prototype had him like an all green body, like dark green, where the release of his figure was like more of like a lighter green. And I think even the legs, I think the legs were all green as well. So the original prototype was fairly different than what you got in Series 9. Slam Doink. And of course, we all know with the Undertake 'em all, probably the most infamous advertisement ever when it comes to Hasbro's. Slam Doink, this WWF Hasbro advertisement featuring Series 8 and 9 was found in the April, July, September, and December 94 WWF magazines. The Undertake 'em all WWF Hasbro advertisement was featured in the April and December 1993 WWF magazine, as well as various programs. Featured in the advertisement are figures from 5, 6, and 7. Note that the ad features the unreleased Punching Shawn Michaels and the Tatanka with war paint leg. Ooh, I didn't even see that. Where's Tatanka? Well, there's Shawn Michaels with the arm punching motion. And Tatanka, there's Tatanka. Yep. And then there's the paint on the leg for Tatanka. And it looks like Skinner even has like a darker shade, like dark brown on his vest. So you got like that green, Skinner obviously had like a green vest, right? But like even his original prototype had him like a dark brown vest. So even Skinner, his prototype was different than what we actually got released. So they didn't mention it in the notes here, but when you pay attention to Skinner, you can see the huge difference compared to that picture in comparison to what was actually received. Alright, pages separate. Alright, World Wrestling Federation official video. TV commercials. So close to the real thing, it's like being in the ring. The 1990-93 WWF Hasbro commercials appeared during weekly programming and on the Coliseum videotapes. These commercials have become synonymous with the wrestling figure line. The March 1991 WWF magazine published a behind-the-scenes article of one of the TV commercials. You got Jake Roberts with blue trunks, or blue pants on. And then Hasbro Toy Fair catalog. The Toy Fair catalog published annually. This was the company to showcase all of their toy lines to toy stores, distributors, and to the press, various toy stores. The figures used to promote purposes were all hand-painted prototypes. So some different from... Oh man, I'm trying to read this fast and I'm butchering everything. So some differ from the retail releases. Note the unreleased ring box art and that it was called WrestleMania ring. Why does the Ultimate Warrior look like the LJN Ultimate Warrior? That is a freaking awesome. That is superiorly different than the actual Hasbro ring. That is cool. That is freaking awesome. Yeah, I don't read those notes. Toy Fair catalog. Damn, they got notes for everything, huh? Alright, let's read these notes down here first. The Hasbro Toy Fair catalog showed figures from Series 2, 3, and 4. Many changes from prototypes can be seen, including Brutus Beefcake's red shears, Coco Beware's pink headband, Greg Valentine's blonde hair, or Greg Valentine's blonde eyebrows, Ultimate Warrior's yellow and white face paint, Texas Tornado's painted boot tassels, and Bret Hart's pink and silver sunglasses. Also note that Big Boss Man appears with Series 4, though he would end up being released with Series 3. Yeah, the original design had him with black, black shears and black and silver. What was it? Or was it, trying to think of the shears, because the shears had silver on the edge with black handles, but the black handle was supposed to be like silver stripes on it. And that was supposed to be the original Series 3 design. But when you eventually got the Series 3 shears, it was just a plain black handle. But man. And of course, the Mega Maniac prototype was supposed to come out in like Series 9 originally. But since that was scrapped, they ended up re-releasing Tatanka. And yeah, that was stupid. You guys know how I feel about that re-release. They could have done something different with that figure, but painted tassels. You see, this would have been awesome. That would have added so much more to Texas Tornado if they added that right there. A little bit different there. Again, Coco Beware, that would have been different with the pink edition. So, I mean, original prototypes, I like it. The original designs. Why did they not keep it? You know, a couple of things that point out. Series 7. Shawn Michaels, that stands out to me, obviously. Skinner with the brown, that stands out, obviously. Series 5, the red baton for Mountie, that stands out. The paint for Tatanka, that stands out. Obviously, Berserker did not come with a sword. You know, that stands out to me. So, the 1993 Hasbro Toy Fair catalog was jam-packed, showcasing Series 5, 6, and 7. Many changes from prototypes can be seen, including Berserker with no cloak and a 2x4 accessory. That's a 2x4? Looks like it's got a kind of like a sword handle. Where did I leave off? Tatanka's blue tribal leg tattoo. The Mountie's red cattle prod. Virgil has no name on his trunks. Okay. Didn't catch that. Owen Hart has the Warlord's legs. Where's Owen? Yeah. He sure in the hell does. Where was I? Shawn Michaels punch action. Razor Ramon's lighter stubble color. Crush's attire is a darker purple. Nah. Macho Man has no green stripes. Hulk Hogan has a much darker skin tone. Yeah, that stood out to me. Rick Martel's trunks are darker pink. And Skinner has a brown shirt. So he said no stripes. You know, obviously Hogan's darker skin, that stood out, of course. And they said he had a darker pink, but so, you know, maybe I should go back, because now reading these last two, I kind of feel like maybe I should read this. This might have something to read of importance. Let's see. The 91 Hasbro Toy Fair showed a mix of Series 1 and Series 2 figures. The cloth ring apron is believed to be advertised purposes only. It was never planned to be released Another Toy Fair catalog showed cloth snake bag next to Jake Roberts that is also thought to have been made just for advertising. So, yeah. Okay. Nothing of importance there. So, Hasbro Toy Fair catalog. And then Series 8. The Series 9 with the darker, yep, you see, the darker green legs, and, like I said, Doink with all green. And then the Series 9 originally had the Mega Maniac Brutus. Series 10, which is missing both Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. Both variants. Alright. The 1994 Hasbro Toy Fair catalog showed Series 8, 9, and 10. For Series 8, the only noticeable change from the prototypes was the darker shade of pink of Bret Hart's attire and his lighter skin tone. Series 9 has many changes. Rick Steiner's trunks and boots are more detailed. Scott Steiner's trunks are a darker color. Doink's tights are green and white with stars, and Brutus Beefcake is shown instead of Tatanka. The changes in Series 10 include head shrinkers, lighter skin tone, and the missing mustache on the Giant Gonzalez. Also note that both Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon is missing. So, yep, missing mustache. Actually, for Rick Steiner, kind of looks like he's got like Arn Anderson Galoob type boots right there. So it looks pretty cool. And of course, one of the most notorious advertisements ever, the Series 11 release photograph, which is freaking badass. The 1995 Hasbro Toy Fair catalog showed Series 11. No obvious changes from the prototypes can be found. This would be the final appearance of WWF Hasbro figures in the Toy Fair catalogs. Crush, Yoko, Borga, Billy, Adam, Bart, 1, 2, 3 Kid. And then collector's notes. Rhythm and Blues, Greg Valentine. The Moonbelly Kamala. Alright, what does it say about Rhythm and Blues? 2-pack was initially planned for Series 2, 91, including Greg Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man. The release was cancelled as the tag team was short-lived, breaking up in late 1990. Honky Tonk Man was released as a single pack in Series 2. And Greg Valentine was released as a single pack in Series 3, 1992. The cancellation came very late into the development process, as the tag team was featured in ads as well as on first release card backs of some Series 2 figures. This running change can be seen on Series 2 tag team card backs, as some have a blank space where the tag team was removed, whereas others have the remaining tag teams evenly spaced out. First release single cards listed them under the also new tag team section. This was removed for re-releases. The name Rhythm and Blues, note the spelling error, can also be found on the Collect Them All section of Spanish cardbacks. As of March 2021, a 2-up Paint Master and unpainted prototype and 3 painted prototypes have been found. A Hasbro Standard Series 2 Demolition 2-pack with instructions to remove all Rhythm and Blues artwork has also been found. And for Kamala, the first run of Series 7 featured Kamala with a painted star belly. Hasbro realized that the star was incorrect and planned for replacement Kamala Moonbelly figure with the second release of Series 7. Around 24 pre-production samples were produced. However, the Series 7 re-release was canceled, and the correct Kamala never made it to retail stores. As of March 2021, there are 18 carded and 2 loose Kamala Moonbelly samples known to be in existence. Beware, this is a figure that is commonly faked, loose, and on card, so buyers must be diligent in their research before purchasing. Megamaniacs Brutus Beefcake. Oh man, that Series 9 card backing is incredible. Alright. A Megamaniacs Brutus the Barber Beefcake was planned for release in Series 9 1994. The 1994 Toy Fair catalog showed the prototype along with other figures. However, the new beefcake was canceled as the wrestler had left the WWF. And the figure was replaced by a Series 6 1993 Tatanka re-release. In 2017, a figure along with a cardback was found and eventually verified as authentic. The figure had been a production sample given as a gift to the owner by a Hasbro employee. The hand-painted prototype from the 1993 Hasbro Toy Fair catalog has been found, along with the white with red stripes shears accessory that was never shown. Alright. Series 12. There have always been rumors over the years regarding a planned Series 12 dubbed the Orange Card Series, as it was thought they would be on orange cardbacks. It was presumed to consist of Doink the Clown, Lex Luger, Mo and Mabel of Men on a Mission, Diesel, Bastion Booger, and Jeff Jarrett. There were also strong rumors that the series was to be a UK exclusive. Over the years, more and more evidence of the series has been discovered, and it can be confirmed that a Series 12 was indeed planned for 1995. Fully colored controllers as well as head drawings of each figure have been found. In addition, unpainted head molds of Diesel, Jeff Jarrett, Mo, and Mabel have surfaced. Then in 2018, prototypes of Doink and Lex Luger appeared on eBay. For what may have been budgetary reasons, the WWF terminated the license with Hasbro, and with that, the WWF line came to an abrupt end. Instead, wrestlers such as Diesel, Doink, Mabel, Lex Luger would be re-released with the Just Toys International Bendham line, 1994 to 2001. So what they would have done, taken the Series 9 Doink and put him on Series 12. So a couple years ago, 2023, Mattel Retros, they gave you this variation of Doink. And same thing with Lex Luger. And it's kind of nice because they gave you like that orange border on the Mattel Retros. And this would have been just a regular Series 8 re-release of Lex Luger. Holy crap. Doink sold on eBay for $3,200, almost $3,300. Are you insane? Jesus Christ. Lex Luger sold for $8,100. Fudge. I'm sorry, but people, are you sick in the head? Is Donald Trump buying these figures? Who's got that kind of money? Fun School. Fun School is an Indian toy manufacturer founded in 1987. Do I want to read all that? Nah, I don't think so. Alright. Undertaker Fun School. I want to get these figures. I want to get them all loose and carded, but these freaking suckers are like more rare, more expensive by a large margin. I just got myself a Fun School Razor Ramon recently, and they claim it's a Fun School figure, but I'm looking at it and I don't even know, man. Like, he doesn't look any different than an original Razor Ramon. So I have to basically go off of the word of the seller that what I have is a legitimate Fun School, because they're like, oh yeah, the plastic is, you know, worse quality than an original Hasbro. But I'm feeling the plastic. I'm like, Um, I don't see any difference between the quality. It all looks the same to me. So I don't even know. Unless I actually have an actual carded figure that actually says Fun School on it. You got me at a loss. But as of 2021, there is not a complete checklist for the Fun School figures. Currently, 14 figures have been found, though others may have been produced. It looks like mostly Series 8 red cards. So, with Bam Bam, Lex, Undertaker, Brett, and Yoko, I mean, that's 5 out of 8. That's 5 out of 6 characters right there. Only, blue singlet Mr. Perfect is missing from Series 8. So, Korean sticker cards. WF Hasbro cards can be found with Korean stickers attached to them. These are distributed by the Young Toys Company based in Seoul, Korea. The cards are in English but have Korean language stickers attached to the card. The translated sticker says Young Toys Company and WrestleMania. There is no exact list of what cards came with the sticker, but a few known examples include Series 1 Big Boss Man, Series 2 Demolition, Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper, and Randy Savage. Error cards. Man. A Series 4 Brett on a Series 8 card. And I think that's a purple heart too. Or is that pink? No, that looks like a purple heart. Snap. They got it. And then they got an Undertaker on a Series 4 Brett. Crazy. And then they got Sergeant Slaughter with no name here. Damn. That's crazy. Actually, there's a error card I see on eBay where I think there's a Bam Bam Bigelow on like a Lex Luger card or something like that. And I think someone like is asking like $8,000 or some crazy price for like that. I mean, I would never buy it, but I want that badly because I want stuff like that, right? What's this all about? What's up with that? What is that? Many error cards have been found throughout the 11 series. Examples include a Series 4 Brett on a Series 8 card. Yeah, I reread that. Sergeant Slaughter card with no name. Cardback errors can be found with incorrect names and incorrect figures drawn in the collect them all section. Carded figures with no accessories, the wrong decals, and no facial hair have also been found. Yeah. They got Marty under Sean. Well, they got Sean's open hand, but they got Marty's head on it. So that's weird. Merlin trading cards. Retail store promotions. I don't think I'm gonna read about that stuff. And then Manix, one of the bootleg companies. That's that stuff up there. Got all these cards, but they're just plain bootleg, right? They have nothing on the back. Then all the Simbas. In fact, I got those guys there that I've bought weeks and weeks ago. I got a bunch of those cards, and I got a bunch more over there. No, that's not part of it. But there's a wrestling ring back there with figures. There's those cards. I got more cards, back on that side. So at some point I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do more Mannix figure reviews and more Simba figure reviews to look at basically all of these Simbas, right? And look at the ring, look at these guys. So that's gonna be pretty fun to kind of look at all of the different Mannix figures and Simba figures. But Hasbro may not have released Diesel, but shoot, you got like one of the best Diesel figures right here. Pretty freaking awesome. And they're pretty much in scale with the Hasbro. Maybe a little bit bigger, but I mean, shoot, if you're a kid and you had that, you'd have fun with it regardless. And Simba, they're basically taking Hasbro parts and recreating the figures. And a lot of time they're making them better. Like Jake Roberts, the arms and legs are a lot bigger and thicker. So like here's the Jake Roberts, right? Think about Hasbro. Think about how thin that figure is, and look how big and thick the arms and legs are on this piece. So the Simba, it might be bootleg, but it's done like 10 times better. So, Punching Paul above was one of the 6 wrestlers in the second series Simba produced. The figures were also released under the When Toys label. Note that the Punching Paul is a blend of WWF Hasbro Jake Roberts' head, punching arm and legs, and Bushwhacker's torso and arm. The Simba molds are much thicker and compared to the WWF Hasbro figures. Other figures of Series 2 included Knockoff Joe, Earl of Power, Pit Hammer, Catching Tiger, and Fighting Bull. So, yeah. Yeah, the Simbas are like some of the most desired Hasbro-style figures out there. Patents. WF Wrestling points. Got a couple more pages and we are done. And this is just a checklist of all the action figures that you need from the different series. Don't really have to go through that. And the 200th and final page, the WWE Mattel Retros. In 2016, Mattel showcased a new WWE Retro line at the San Diego Comic-Con. The figures and packaging would be a tribute to the Hasbro line. Series 1, exclusive to Walmart, debuted in 2017 and included The Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Kevin Owens. The line proved to be very popular, but suffered the distribution problems. As of 2021, there are a total of 10 series, 44 figures, and 1 ring. The line was placed on hiatus in 2019. Then in April of 2021, it was announced to the delight of fans that the line was being restarted. And that, folks, is the conclusion of the Unofficial Hasbook. And my God, this was so much fun. So much great, useful information. If you are a Hasbro fan or collector, get yourself this book. You might have to pay up for it. Like I said, I won this on eBay auction probably a year and a half ago. And I think it cost me like $50. But trust me, it's a necessity. It is a necessity, and it's worth it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to watch this review with me. And until next time, guys, thank you so much. I'll talk to you in the comments and see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.